Hey y'all, it's Natalie, and I have a just because layout for you today. I am still working it in my Alaska travel album, but I pulled out this paper pad the other day that is so old, and I was like, you know what? I am itching to use this. It's so pretty, and I've literally hoarded it because I love it so much, and you can see that I've hardly used any of the products you'll see in this video before, and I've had it for years. I've probably had this for, I can't even imagine. Let me look at the back of the paper pad. It is, let's see if it has a date. 2016 was the date that this collection came out. It is Pink Paisley's Outfitter collection. So we're using it. I have this cut file. It's from Paige Evans. I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. It's a super intricate cut file, as she does, but only alphas really, besides a geotag. So I am going to take some time and I'm going to use all of these beautiful papers in this Outfitters collection to back all the teeny tiny little alphas in this cut file. Obviously I'm not going to watch all of that on the film here, but you can see the papers I'm choosing. I'm choosing a couple that are like a white background. One is like little colorful mountains on it, and one has some maps, and then I chose that green one, and then I have the beautiful stripe paper, which is kind of like my favorite paper from the paper pad, and I think actually that section of it is the only one that is still available. I don't even know if I still have one that's left in the pad. So I have used the paper pad some, but in a few minutes you'll see me pull out the die cut ephemera, and it's basically brand new, never been used. So this was, a little bit time consuming, but worth it. I really love the end result. I did cut the cut file out of some craft paper, and so I chose a solid salmon color background paper. This is a smooth cardstock from Echo Park, and it matched pretty well. I thought it would be nice to help be a super colorful layout. The photo is of my family in front of the Mendenhall Glacier in Juneau, Alaska. So you can see here, I'm showing you, I have backed all of the alphas, but there are just pesky little bits that I need to get my craft knife after. So that is just me showing you an example of how I'm getting little bits that I wasn't able to cut by hand with scissors, but also some that were already cut, but then also literally in the itty bitty spaces, mostly around the E's, I wasn't even able to use scissors. I was only able to use this craft knife. So I have a glass mat here. This is the Tim Holtz glass mat, and that is what I am using to cut on because it does not mind if you use a craft knife on it. So I have gotten this done, and I think I showed at the beginning, but there was a little bend on one edge of the paper, but I was like, I'm cool with that. I flipped it over though, so it could be the bottom left, because I knew that I would do the little Missy Wooden trick of adding some rough edged other color paper, the paper's tearing up and you can see what's below it. So I decided to use that same favorite stripe paper to back the large geotag. I did think for a second about making a shaker out of it, but I was like, you know what? There's a lot going on with all the different letters being in different papers. So I was like, we'll just do one of those papers and kind of keep it with that. So I'm now wetting some gesso down to use as white splatter. I have found this to be fairly effective. It doesn't blend in too much. I did have to go back and add a little bit more gesso, but I don't remember what it was, but my friend Nicole used some white splatter the other day that really did not soak into the paper. So I'm going to go back to her video and be influenced to buy that, and then I'll let you know once I remember what she used, because it was awesome. So that is my plan for the next order I place at a cherry on top. Now I am cutting off at that little edge. That was the bent up edge. And then I'm roughing up the edges of that piece that I cut off. And then I'm just going to use that same little white paper with the colorful mountains to just stick a little section of it right there on that rip, so it looks as though it's peeking out. And I'm going to use that same paper to back the heart that goes in the middle of the geotag. And then I'm going to do this same treatment a couple other times on this pink paper. So I'll have 3 little pieces that are peeking out around the edges, and then a repeating element on my cut file. So it'll be a really nice way to bring the cut file into the background of the paper. And then it just goes along with my distressed vibe that I have in my scrapbooking, and that will repeat also throughout the album. And what are we doing here? We are can't see. Oh, I'm using that same paper to back that heart, just as I mentioned earlier. And I am going to pop that up on some foam tape to give it some dimension there. So there pretty much was only one real way that I could orient the page, right? Luckily the cut file went over some negative space in the photo and it worked really well. It's just kind of it's saying, oh, look, here's the geotag, boom, right here on the glacier location. So now I'm going through the Outfitters die cuts. I really love them, but most of them have words, right? So most of them are not only icons, and we have so many words going on already on the page that I didn't want to use too many die cuts that also contained more words to kind of distract the reader's eye. Where am I reading? Am I reading the cut file? Am I reading the die cut? I'm not sure. So I also went and I pulled out Jen Hadfield's Live and Let Grow die cut ephemera, and that worked really well with the Outfitters ephemera. They went together beautifully, and so that is what you see me kind of mix and matching here. I pulled out a couple of butterflies. I pulled out a camera. My plan is to cut out some of that white space of the camera and position it on my die cut so it's hanging from the die cut kind of. So I have put off adhesive on the back of the entire die cut, and then I'm going to kind of put it down at the same time with the photo to make sure that I position them both how I want. I'm just making sure I kind of have the same space at the top of the paper that I have at the bottom of the paper, but also that the die cut isn't overlapping any important part of the photo that I want to see. And then I'll get to adding the foam tape to my die cuts and sticking them around the page. I pulled out a few things. I liked the hiking boots with the florals in it that came out of the Jen Hadfield, but I also really liked the green camper van. And basically I decided that those kind of die cuts, like the camper van, are hard for me to use a lot of times. And so if I had an opportunity on this page to use it, I should probably go ahead and do it, because I would probably have a hard time finding a place to use it again. And I didn't want to use the boots and the van because they don't match in size. So the boots are really disproportionate to the size of the van. So if I'm using the size of the van, I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't want the boots to be as big as the van. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if that's taking things really literally, and I tend to not do that too bad on pages sometimes, but that one was just too much for me. I couldn't do it. So I went with the van. And then I switched out what ephemera I was going to put at the top of the right photo, because I wanted to mimic that green that's in the bottom. The top left of the photo, because I wanted to mimic that green of the van. So then I decided to layer this other piece from the Turismo collection right behind that. Even though I just have some words, it's separate from the cut file, so I'm cool with it. And then we're calling it a layout. I'm going to put some affiliate links down below if you'd like to grab anything from the A Cherry on Top store with them. But again, these are all really old items, so they're probably not in the store anymore. But if you have them in your stash, I hope you're inspired to use them. And here are all the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe. Bye, y'all.